All right, so here's a little bit of a boat update. We got her hooked to the new truck that you guys haven't seen yet. F-150 is gone, sold it, bought an F-250 because I bought a gigantic camper. Need something to pull it with. So this is the first time ever hooking it up to this. So I did a bunch of work to this, which I'll show you in a few minutes, back in October. It's now February. I had all kinds of plans to do with this for storing it for the winter. Didn't do any of them. Only thing I did was one side of the barrels. I converted them over from the metal strapping to ratchet straps, so now I can remove each barrel if I want and do any kind of work to it. But I have a bunch more plans to do this. So what I'm gonna do now basically is pull it around to the backyard. I stored it off to the side on my property here, just out of the way for the winter. But now that winter is pretty much out the door, at least I think it is here in New Jersey, we're gonna pull this in the backyard and we're gonna start getting her ready for spring, because I have a boatload of plans for this thing, and you know, I gotta get cracking on it before the warm weather's here. There is a bee flying around here. That's crazy. It's the first one I've seen in 2022. So yeah, let's get her going. All right, so I've got the high lift jack from my old Jeep holding up the whole side of the boat, so I can pull off these old metal straps and go over all these caps, which actually we're not. This one is sealed. This one is sealed. This one has water in it, and I punctured this one by mistake with a screw, so this one also has some water in it. So I'm going to use my Harbor Freight plastic welder to melt that hole shut. Here's those diverters again, a better shot how they're built. So had all rocks up in here because, you know, it's not, water gets in here, it's not meant to be sealed. Yeah, I got some work ahead of me, but it's really not a big deal. These things are in, so because I got ratchet straps now, so that's going to be a much better setup than this. All right, I emptied the water out of that drum, and that's the drum that had the puncture in it. Made sure the puncture's straight up. I tightened all of these. I could have sworn I tightened all of them. This one was leaking. I saw when we were in the water one day. This was up on the beach, and the back half of the boat was in the water, so it was angled like this. And I was standing like about this high, and I was just watching the water level, which was like right here. And I was just watching bubbles coming out of this one. I was like, well, when I went to go empty it just now, I realized this whole entire thing was hand tight. I had missed one. So I checked all of them again. They were all tight except that one. So I drained all the water out of it, tightened that back up. But that doesn't mean I'm done there. I am going to silicone every single cap. I'm going to take every cap off and silicone them shut. And then I am going to put a valve stem in every single one of them, just to give them all like 2 to 3 psi of pressure so that they don't deflate at all. You know, and then that should be good. I did not do the other side yet because I've actually bought the incorrect number of these. Thought I bought enough, but I only bought half of what I actually am supposed to have. So no big deal. But I'm just gonna lower the boat now, so it's sitting on those rails, and then I'm gonna tighten all these straps. So let me get doing that now. All right, so I got all the straps on. They're all tight. The boat is sitting on its pontoons now. So what I did here was, these are the kind of ratchet straps where you just pull them tight. And then the rope would hang, so I actually pulled it as tight as I could over this, set the screw down it. There's really not going to be much tension on this in terms of like no weight or anything's gonna be really on this. So I'm really not worried about this screw ripping out. It's more or less to keep this in the boat. I want to get rid of the steering system. I'm going to just basically put a steering wheel with a cable that's going to come down. And it's going to head to this. Now what I want to do here is I want to add a third motor eventually. Don't know if I'm going to do that this year or not, but for now I'm going to just build it. I want to build basically like how an outboard is. So this is my current motor setup where I have, you know, both motors running on a linkage system that I explained in one of my last videos. But with that being said, what I'm thinking about doing is, I'm going to do away with this setup. What I'm thinking about doing here is building a unit that would hold those motors, okay, and the post. It would hold it like, and the motor no longer would pivot with one of these. I might use one of these actually as like the outboard, like the whole idea for the outboard. I don't really think these are that strong though, so I don't really know yet. I'm still up in the air with how I'm gonna do it. Like, these have so much movement in them, and I absolutely, like, it's flimsy. Like, it should not be. That's just how these motors are. So the unit I want to build is going to be basically like how a regular gas outboard would be. It would raise and lower and turn side to side like that. And then I'm going to use basically a regular boat steering cable system that's going to go up to a steering wheel. They're very inexpensive, and you can find them on literally any, like Amazon. You can literally find them, and they're all different lengths too. So I'm just going to measure it and get the right length for the boat. Now, as far as the throttle setup that I have, let me show you what I have right now. I decided to wire this system completely independent. So I have two motors, and then I run two 12-volt batteries. They're both 12-volt 55-pound thrust trolling motors. And I was going to use these things called pulse width modulators to get more efficiency and control out of the motors. However, I would order two, and one would work and one wouldn't, and then I'd order another one and it wouldn't work, or it would work for a little bit, and then so I decided to go away with that setup, and I actually used the control unit that comes with the trolling motor. Now, I understand that these are not in any way efficient. However, I always have these batteries on charge. Like, they're always sitting on a trickle charger. Like, they're never in the boat unless I'm using the boat. I keep them in my shed over there, completely charged 24/7, so that, you know, they're fully charged, ready to go when I need to use this boat. And I think we've only used it for like 4 hours max, maybe 5 hours. But to be honest with you, I'm not on the throttle for 5 hours. You know, we drive around, we throw the anchor, we hang out, we grill, swim, and then, you know, pull the anchor and drive around a little bit more, and then we stop and throw the anchor. So, like, all together, being out for 5 hours, we're probably only really using it for an hour, maybe 2 hours in terms of using motor power. Now, with that being said, is wired totally independent. So if one motor or battery or controller for that motor were to fail, I still have the other one to get us back to the truck, you know, where I pull the boat out every time I use it, because I don't live on the lake. So this is how I have it set up right now. This is one motor. So you have, right now we're in 0. These little dashes are how I know where it is, right? 1, 2, 3. So you have 3 speeds for reverse, right? That's 0. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speeds for forward. And it's the same for that, because they're both like the same motor, right? So what I want to do here is I have my steering lever here, which obviously I'm going to do away with. And then what I'm thinking is I want to build a battery tray here. So that the batteries, I can load them in on the side there, tidy up this wiring, put lumen around this wiring. I have it run to the frame, which I think I'm going to undo, so that I can just run looming all the way to the back of the motors. And then I'm thinking moving these controllers here, like building a board that they sit here, and somehow creating a linkage so that they're both tied into like pretend like, you know, if I had a lever here in the middle, then if I leaned it each way, it would control both of these in the exact same motion. So that I can use one lever to control both motors. But down here, because right here is going to be a steering wheel now. And then I want to put like the throttle system here, you know what I'm saying? Like on a lever like this. So I can just throw it forward for forward, pull it back for reverse, sit it right here in the middle for neutral, or whatever you want to call it, zero. Not forward or back. And then that'll make it a lot more user-friendly, because like I'm like the only one that knows how to drive this thing. Now obviously you push forward to make a left turn and you pull back to make a right turn, but this linkage has proven to be a pain in the ass in terms of when you're in 5 forward, like, and you know, you can't really turn. It makes it very difficult. So that is the idea that I want to go with. So that's where we're at with that. So all right, well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.